Yeah, I'ma make this shit hot. Oh, I'ma light this shit up. Yeah, I'ma make this shit hot. Oh, I'ma light this shit up.
Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to part 2 of What If Goku, Broly and Vegeta were triplets. Yes, a part 2. Oh my god, it didn't not take me a month. Who would have thought? Anyway, a few things to say. The video did better than I thought it did, but also worse. Does that make sense? This might sound a bit, this is not at all not meant to sound snobby or like that. I'm just used to my videos when in the first couple of hours getting a few thousand views. But after that sudden spike, the views slowed down like that. But the videos that I made last time, yeah, it's only at 500 views right now after 2 days. But it's still constantly getting a steady amount of views. So, just mentioning that. But the likes is the big thing. So, I'm not going to raise the like goal too much because I have a feeling we won't hit it for like a week. So the last one I said was 65. I'll make this one 70. So other than that, let's do a quick recap. Last time we left off was with Broly, Goku and Vegeta crash landing on the planet. Raising themselves for... I did say 6 to those 6, but I'll say more like 5. That's when Grandpa Gohan found them, gained their trust, and actually started raising them, made them civilized. At least to what can be done. And gave them hellish training, and thanks to their same DNA, it boosted their power quite a bit. They all started with a power level of 10,000 when they were kids, but all being legendary Super Saiyans. But I'd say after the hellish training, that was, I'd say, solid 25,000 each, with Goku slowly pulling ahead a little bit with Broly next and then Vegeta. But then Ginyu, who had been watching them on Frieza's order, if you haven't seen it, basically I haven't seen it, go watch the last part. Ginyu watching them on Frieza's order decided to make his move to recruit them and killed Grandpa Gohan. This made all of them snap, and they all started battering Ginyu. And Goku had it the hardest, as he was the only one who he was the only one trying to maintain, keep his head cool, but he was slowly going berserk. But before he was actually snapping, the image of Grandpa Gohan's head getting taken was replaying again and again and again, and every time it played, his power basically doubled, until a point he finally snapped, and he ended up killing Ginyu. And Broly and that one knocked unconscious and all that, but that was because Ginyu got some surprise attacks in it. But in the end, we see that something's lit up in Goku. A rage, a power, and a purpose. All of their purpose was to become the strongest and kill whoever that Frieza person was. And all their eyes changed. Broly's was a yellow, Vegeta's was a light blue, and Goku's was a red. If you want, yes, this is Broly's rage form when his eyes go red. That's what they all got their own version of it. I'll look up the name. But, yeah, that's what they all got. But it quickly faded, and they fell unconscious to wake up to a blue-haired woman. Let's jump back in. Goku's eyes slowly opened to a blue-haired woman standing over top of him, who was scanning his body with some type of scanner in it, obviously. And she says, "Oh, these poor boys, their muscles are all torn and damaged. It's like something exploded from within them." And she went over and saw that, and she went over to Brody and went to touch his head to check his temperature. But Goku's instincts to protect his brothers lit up, and even with his damaged body to the point where he shouldn't even be able to barely breathe, appeared out of nowhere and grabbed Bulma's hand. And he just said in a low but clearly angered voice, "Don't touch my brother." And Bulma started yelling at him that he should have some manners. But Goku has just watched his grandpa die. And his grip slowly started getting tighter till Bulma nearly started screaming. And he said, "I'll say this one last time, as my grandpa told me not to hurt girls. If you try to touch my brother again or do anything towards him, I'll tear this arm off and beat you to death with it." And Bulma looked into Goku's eyes. It was a dull look, but he quickly let her go and went over to pick up Grandpa Gohan's body. This is where everything was starting to link together for Bulma. Something traumatic must have just happened to these boys, and she quickly apologized and said she was just trying to help. And she explained what happened to both to Broly and Vegeta and Goku's own body. Goku wasn't stupid. He knew his body wasn't going to hold out unless he got either, or else to find some way to heal. And she said she could help. So Goku allowed it after he buried Grandpa Gohan, as that was his punishment, the pain he had to feel for letting his grandpa die. Afterwards, Bulma used some of her capsules and brought out medical and healing supplies, and actually healed and started healing Goku and that. After 2 weeks, Broly, Vegeta, and Goku were fully healed. But all of them were quiet and enraged. Well, quiet rage was within them. And they trained every day, despite just only healing. And thanks to their Zenkai boost, they were actually quite a bit stronger, especially Broly. They trained every day, and they would slowly start reverting back to their usual self. Goku the slowest out of any of them. He wasn't cruel, but he wasn't full of happiness. He wouldn't go out of his way to hurt someone, but if someone managed to annoy him to the point, he would gladly beat the hell out of them. His brothers were clearly worried about him, but what could they do? They can't just walk. They've never been that type of brother who walk up and just talk it out. Thus, when the idea hit Broly, it shocked Vegeta, who started laughing, saying, "You had an idea? Don't make me laugh." Which made Broly's hair flare up, but he realised it was something more important. He went up to Goku and told him to fight him. Goku, with a dull look in his eyes, just smirked and said, "It's very funny. Go back to training. We have to get stronger." And turn around, but without warning, Broly let out a strike to the back of his head, making Goku go flying. Goku instantly got back up, and the glow in his eyes was back. The glow that he always had, and Vegeta saw this and realised what was happening. Goku quickly shook his head and blinked his eyes, calming himself down, getting himself out of fight mode, and told Broly, "Last chance, go back to Out of nowhere, Vegeta came in with a sucker punch to the side of Goku's face. That was it. A smirk was on Goku's face. It was time to have one of their usual brother scraps. Both Broly and Vegeta rushed Goku, but to their surprise, Goku was dodging all their attacks. Something is different in Goku. After seeing his grandpa get murdered in front of his eyes, and always being the one who had the calmest mind, his body was relaxed. He was easily able to move out the way, but he had to make a conscious effort to do it, and it was very draining. But he could do it. And at this point, except for the sucker punches, none of their hits were landing. This just aggravated Broly and Vegeta and made them stronger, faster. This is where Goku had to start blocking punches. And after a few seconds of it, he started sending his own back. He caught Broly and Vegeta by surprise, as it went from just blocking to Vegeta suddenly get a kick to the stomach, and Goku spinning round and hitting Broly hard in the face, and them both back flying. Bulma was just watching this, amazed at these little kids' strength. And then she looked over to the mountains and saw the massive crater in it, and realised, or the massive crack down the middle, and realised, these kids aren't normal. She could see a cap of energy radiating from all of them. Vegeta's being blue, Broly's being green, and Goku's being red. It's not Goku, don't worry. This was blood red. And as they were fighting, their fists colliding, the ground was shaking. Goku's smirk was back. And he deep down knew that he had to move past this. He had to do it for the sake of his brothers, his family, and his grandpa. And that's when he said to the fight to the end. But Broly and Vegeta didn't listen. To which he looked at them, and the glare in his eyes terrified them, and they immediately stopped and started apologizing. Goku laughed. Broly and Vegeta were over the moon to see their older brother laughing for the first time in weeks. And Broly was very happy with himself, thinking he was smart for once. Goku goes to both his brothers and say, "We all know what we have to do. We have to get stronger and find that Frieza bastard." Well, no, guys, I cursed. Oops. I'm not going to do it a lot in it. It's just a little sneak peek here and there. You can tell I didn't even want to say it. But yeah, Broly and Vegeta both nod, and their training begins. Unknown to them, they're being watched by someone with white hair. Someone we know as Whis. As he's been ordered by Lord Beerus to find someone who could do his work for him. Someone like Frieza, but someone who would actually do it, more reliable, and would actually listen without a complaint. And that was when Whis was watching Goku in that fight against Ginyu, and he saw promise in these boys, especially Goku, whose power level hit a skyrocket of 2 million at his young age of 9. That was stronger than Beerus when he was a child, although he didn't have Destruction Ki at that point. And he was watching them, and he soon made the choice that he had to pay them a visit. But not yet. We're gonna time skip 2 years. Broly, they're all 11 years old, and they're getting ready, and they've all been traveling with Bulma. Not for the Dragon Balls. In this version, Bulma is trying to expand her knowledge, to learn more about the world, more about how she can help people, and hopefully bring back the dead. At first, Broly, Vegeta, and Goku refused to travel with her, until the fact that she was trying to learn how to bring back the dead was brought up. And they immediately fought to Grandpa Gohan, and with the promise that she will try her very best to bring him back, she now had 3 of the strongest people she's ever met at her guard, fighting and protecting her, etc. Throughout this, there was something that Goku could sense. It was a weird energy, not human. And it seemed like it was just released into the world. This was something we know as Piccolo. Not the one that we know and love, the old saggy one. After the world changing as it has, with more scientists being improved, the King Piccolo's resurrection and coming back was actually delayed a bit. But unknown to him, he has people way strong enough now, ready to fight back against him. But he's decided to keep a low head, as he has a plan to absorb the one who could complete his power. We're gonna go to a far, far, far away galaxy. Not a galaxy, I mean planet, where Frieza is sitting there in his spaceship, realising that Ginyu's vitals have gone dark, gone blank, and he suddenly realises that Ginyu, his strongest soldier, was just killed by these boys. Not only does this set a bit of fear in his mind for the first time in his life, as he could see the reading of 2 million, it also sets a bit of excitement. If he could get these 3 Saiyan brats under his control, no one in the universe could stop him. He was thinking that he could even go against Beerus. And this, for the first time in his life, gave him motivation to train. And he would train hard. He would train to the point that he was going to train every single day, every chance he got, until he had the chance to confront these boys himself. And that's what he did. But we're going to leave Frieza to train. We're going to go to Goku, who's currently traveling. He is currently competing in the Budokai, that tournament they did with Broly and Vegeta. This is where King Piccolo was planning to make his grand reveal, but it hasn't happened yet, as Goku, Broly and Vegeta are just breezing through the competition. This has alarmed King Piccolo, as he's thinking, wait a minute, these brats might be a problem. But as long as I can absorb Kami, it won't affect me the slightest. And we get to the point where it's Broly versus Vegeta, with Goku being the final fight. Both Broly and Vegeta, this is what they've been waiting for, as they've never been able to dispute who has been the strongest. Sure, sometimes Vegeta would win, sometimes Broly would win, but since they started training more and more, they haven't had a fight. And this is the place where they could test out their strength. They both charge up their energy, their ki, and rush at each other. Within one punch, the arena beneath them is shattered, but still there, and they start fighting around the arena. It seems to be quite evenly matched. Some blows were landing, some blows were dodged, and some were parred. And Broly and Vegeta had the biggest smile on their face they have had for months. This was a real fight. As they were fighting, their power was slowly increasing. But Broly's was increasing at a more rapid rate. He was started to push back against Vegeta. Vegeta's pride, that he's well known for among the brothers, started boiling up, pushing his power even farther, to the point where he even managed to land a clean hit on Broly's chin, which dazed Broly for a second, until his consciousness fully snapped back in, and he landed the dirtiest punch, which Vegeta managed to block, but he felt the pain in his arms, and his arms go numb for a few seconds. Broly's hair starts to move, as well as Vegeta's, as their eyes are flashing in and out of yellow for Broly and blue for Vegeta. This isn't rage, it's just pure excitement from the battle. Their same instincts are running wild. And they're starting to get faster, stronger, to the point where they're starting to be faster than the human eye can see. But Goku's smirking, seeing how far his brothers have come. And the fight is slowly getting dragged out, but it's slowly becoming more and more advanced. Their technique is becoming better. Their raw power is becoming stronger. They're becoming quicker. And another thing that Goku's noticed, Broly is becoming more animalistic. But not in a bad way. And I mean, there's more force and there's more brutalism behind his attacks. He's holding back less. And Vegeta's noting this as well. But Vegeta's always, if you had the pit in the word, been more noble. As his attacks are refined. He's trained them for years at this point. And if he had to, he could land a killing strike at any point he needed. Well, against normal people, Broly would probably dodge. But as they're slowly seeing themselves more as they're equal with each other, they're pushing themselves harder, not wanting to admit it. And this is what makes Broly, Vegeta and Goku so strong, that brotherly rivalry. It's just unbeatable. And it gets to the point where Broly's animalistic is pushing even further into something he hasn't felt before. Well, at least not until he fought against Ginyu. And he's starting to actually push and smack Vegeta about. Vegeta's trying to fight back, but he's still being overpowered. This is shocking him. He thought he was always equal with his brother. But this showed him that he was nowhere near it. As he's never seen his brothers being serious, especially Goku. This made him realise deep down that he was a Saiyan prince. He can't fall behind his brothers. And his eyes for a short second flashed light blue, and he exploded with power, landing a deadly hit onto Goku. Not deadly, you know what I mean, on Broly's nose. And he was sent back flying. But Broly, while being in book-wise, he was the stupidest guy you'd meet. But in street-wise and fight-wise, he was Einstein. And in the minute he was getting sent back, something he just learned to do, he charged up a key. Well, he recently learned. He charged up a small green key blast in his hand and sent it. Vegeta didn't see it coming and got nailed by this blast, and then flying out of the ring, hitting the ground first just before Broly. Both knocked out. But Broly passes on to the final round against Goku. But if you do want to see that, you're going to have to wait till next time if you get me. Because this is the end of part 2, ladies and gentlemen. If you did enjoy, make sure you like, subscribe, share with your friends and family. Get me to 20k before New Year's. Actually, no, that's a bit unrealistic. Get me to 20k before February. Other than that, guys, I hope you did enjoy it from the bottom of my heart. And thank you for watching this. You guys watching this funds my chocolate addiction. So, yeah. Peace out, guys. Love.